triple header.
KP in the news.
Peace. Peace, my people. I'm going to do a triple exclusive today, called a triple header, because I had three people that wanted me to do some things here. They had some stories they wanted me to cover. I'm going to do Ayana, which is my niece Ayana, KK number one, and one for Stonewall Jackson. Let's start off with my niece here, because she gave me a real good topic. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you just a little snippet, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to go over this a little bit deeper, because I have a lot of information to cover on that particular one for Yana. So I'm just going to give out this information today, and I'm going to come back and do a whole segment on that. All right, so right now, what I'm going to do is her topic was about black economics and, you know, opportunities for black people. So I'm going to hit you with this good story, feel good story that I found. It's about a company called American Tax Geeks, and they're is giving away $112 million to African Americans to start thousands of franchises. So here you have a company. American Tax Geeks is known as a franchise company that pays all of the startup costs for its franchise owners. But now they're specifically giving $112 million to African Americans to start an American Tax Geeks franchise. They will pay your startup costs, provide employee training, and much, much more. Their popular franchise model of paying for startup costs of their franchise owners has allowed them to become the fastest growing franchise ever, with 10,000 locations for the next tax season. So they're giving up that money. So if anybody's out there, African American, black, you want to start a business, here it is. You can't get no better than that. They're going to give you the money to start the franchise. Furthermore, in addition to paying off all your startup costs, right now they're also waiving their $40,000 initial franchise fee, with an annual gross for franchise owners, get ready for this, $200,000 a year is what you would be making as a franchise owner. It's truly one of the best franchise opportunities out there. Hey, I might come out of retirement and go try to get one of these started myself. So if you want this information here, and it's go to www.americantaxgeeks. That's American TAXGEEKS.com. AmericanTaxGeeks.com. Check it out, people. You're talking about starting your own business. As a business owner, $200,000 that you'll be making per year. So hey, in 5 years you'll be a millionaire. Come on now, do the math. Okay, moving on to the next story. This is for a story I'm doing for KK number one, and it's a story about once I did the research on it. Well, let me give you the story here. It was an article that came up that was talking about the Felicity Huffman, who was sentenced Friday to 14 days in prison for paying her daughter's her university entrance exams. And then you had another story pertaining to a black woman by the name of Tanya McDowell. They got 5 years for getting her kid in school. So this is how it went. Huffman, which is I believe she was a movie actress. She paid a lot of money for her kid to beat the system and get into college. And so therefore, she pleaded guilty to the case. And I think it might have been about maybe 25 or 30 people that got busted in this sweep. So she pleaded guilty. This is what she got. She got a 14-day sentence. She got 250 hours of community service. She got a year's supervised probation and a $30,000 fine for what she did as far as like trying to get her kid in school. On the contrast, you have the black mother, 34 years old, homeless, single mother who was arrested for sending her son to school outside of his home district, was sent to prison for 5 years. And let's see, she enrolled her son in a school in Norwalk, Connecticut, instead of Bridgeport, Connecticut, where he was supposed to go. The case is further complicated. Now it's further complicated. Now when I first got somebody turned me on to the story, they were making the comparison. Well, this black lady got 5 years, this white lady got 14 days. After I did a little more research and I found out the reason why the lady got 14 years, don't get mad at me. I'm just a reporter here. And the reason why she got 14 years, got 5 years instead of the 14 days like the other lady got, was because she got caught with drugs. So what the state accused her of, Tonya McDowell, 34 years old, is accused of stealing $15,000 education from the city of Norwalk. She was convicted of 4 counts of selling narcotics, which added to her sentence. She pleaded guilty to dealing the drugs on February 7th. Darnell Crossland, McDowell's attorney, says that she accepted the plea even though she is not guilty. She shouldn't be arrested for stealing a free education. It's just wrong. That's what her lawyer stated. It says the total sentence is actually 12 years in prison, and was suspended after she serves 5 years, and then another 5 years of probation when she gets out. So that's a 5-year. That was a 12-year sentence that got reduced down to 5 years. She'll be able to get out in 5 years. If in good behavior, she'll be able to get out in 5 years, and then after that, 5 years of probation. So, at first I was highly, highly upset when I discovered, well, oh man, a black lady got 5 years for, getting her kid in school, and the white lady got 14 days. But it turns out it was extra stuff that went along with that, and that was the drugs. She was caught, and she was convicted for selling drugs, and she pleaded guilty to that, and those 2 cases were combined for some reason. So she had the drug situation, 4 counts of selling narcotics, and she pleaded guilty. So it's that's one of those stories where people would throw you off, and they're just talking about the time. They're talking about how much time the black lady got, how much time in correlation to how much time the white lady got. That's I'm sorry to say that's not the case. It was something else involved, and so it really kind of got blown out of proportion. Okay, so now I'm going to do a story here this is an op-ed, this is my opinion, for Stonewall Jackson asked me to comment on young black men having no integrity, no respect for themselves. First of all, I like to say that topic is kind of, it's a good topic to cover, but it's also a tricky topic to cover because geographically speaking, when you go to a certain areas of certain cities and certain states, it's not always the case. So you have some kids that live in a middle class neighborhood. Those kids are doing a little bit better than most. You don't have those situations. You got a 2-family household. It's a lot of statistics that will come into play when you're dealing with this kind of situation. And it's so if you want to generalize and you want to put all young black men into the same category, what I'm saying personally, I'm saying you can't do that. You can't put all eggs in one basket and say that all young black men are disrespectful and don't have integrity for themselves. So that's just my interpretation on that. but I'm gonna go a little bit deeper, and you know, no, so it's a lot of young black men out there that do have respect and do have integrity for themselves, but the issue is you never hear those stories, you never hear about it, and you never see it on the news. You know, they had an article that I was looking at, and they had a bunch of young black men that were graduating college. Well, not graduating, they were checking into college down in Atlanta. I can't remember which college it was. It might was it Spelman? One of the historical black colleges in Atlanta, and they had over 750 young black men checking into college. And so what they did was they had them all walk in one by one. Young brothers, they all had suits on. They was all clean, and it's like this is the kind of stuff you don't see on the news. They never show that. So they'll show you, you know, some guys with a mugshot going to jail, but they won't show you that it was. And actually, to be honest, there are more young black men checking into college right now than it is young black men going to jail. So that's a fact. That is a known fact, and it's just not being reported. So you do your homework on that one. And so I'm gonna get a little bit deeper off into this. You have this is the part that, you know, women out there, please don't get upset with me for saying this. This is just my opinion, and it's a lot of fact involved in this. Single family households where you have young black men being raised by women with no dads around and no father figures around to be an example for them. And my story is, as a young black man, I made good grades in school, but at the same time I was living a split. I had living a double life. You know, I was doing good in school, but at the same time I was out there acting a fool. You know, I was involved in a bunch of extracurricular dumb shit that I was out there doing. You know, running the streets, gang banging, using drugs, and all that. So, you know, I had a mother and father at home. What I did inside the house and what I did outside the house was two different things. They were providing everything they could for me, and I mean, my parents had good jobs. And so the stuff that I got into was my own fault, the stuff that I got into. And I take full responsibility for that. I can't blame them because they tried their best to do what they had to do for me. And so, you know, those outside influences, those people in the streets, those are the ones that send you down those bad paths. And that goes to the next part that I'm talking about. It's you got bad father figures, you know, bad fathers out there, and then you got you know, males that set bad examples for young black men. You know, those old cats that are out there that are like 30, 40, 50 years old, and they call themselves, you know, look at me, I'm a OG, I'm gang, you know, they still gang affiliated at 30, 40 years old. Get away from those fools, because that is the kind of shit that gets you locked up, have you locked up forever. Because see, they're gonna have you out there committing their crimes. You know, yeah, go out here and rob this store and bring me back the money, and then it's like, yeah, you just being used. So those bad father figures are the ones that set bad examples for a lot of young black men. You know, and it's like, you know, I'm not gonna 100% blame the music, but then you still got to put a little bit on that gangster rap music too, because that teaches a lot of disrespect for women, a lot of disrespect for themselves. It's like they tell you, well, this is what you need to do. You need to be a G. You need to pack a gun. You need to sell some drugs. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit. So, you know, I'm not a real big fan of gangster rap. I'm just not. So, you know, you're talking about this. You're talking about 40 years, over 40 years of the same old dumb shit, telling you the same old stuff, the same old garbage over and over again. You know, you got to be hard. You got to be this. You got to be that. You got to be a G. You got to be down. That's total bullshit, man. So when you wake up and you find yourself in the penitentiary with 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and those same cats, you know, they'll be still out there making their gangster rap records, and a lot of them wasn't even thugs when they just making records pretending like they thugs. So, you know, it's a couple of them out there that really are gangsters, but the majority of them are not, you know. So, okay, then here's the 10,000-pound elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Why kids have so many issues, mental issues, and that's drug babies. There's a lot of drug babies born out there. And I'm not just saying about today, I'm going all the way back to the 70s when you had people was taking a lot of pills, they was taking a lot of PCP, and then, you know, you got the 80s came along, you got the crack that came along, so you got crack babies, so you got pill babies addicted to pills, PCP babies addicted to PCP, you got crack babies addicted to crack, now you got opioid babies coming along with Oxycontin, you got babies being born addicted to ecstasy, you got babies being born addicted to Molly, and this is the thing that really upsets me about black people trying to do what white people do. Now you got black people out there trying to use meth. That's a drug that's been extensively used by white people for the longest. So it's an overlooked statistic where you got these babies that are they're born addicted, and they have a lot of mental problems that, you know, and physical problems that they're born with, and because of their parents using drugs. So if you get a kid out there that's kind of off balance, and they're disrespectful, or they just don't have no drive, hey, it's a real good possibility that kid might be a drug addicted, that was born drug addicted. So take all these things in consideration. You know, I'm not the foremost authority on this, but this is my opinion. So I want you guys to respond to this in the comments. Respond. You know, let me know what you think. You know, because like I said, this is just my opinion. You know, and it's like it's a lot of other insinuating things out there. I know, you know, mothers do the best they can do. Now, I've already said it before. I don't know if a man is on flipping it over. I don't know if a man can be 100% effective in raising a daughter by himself, because there's a lot of issues that women have that he just don't have an answer to. So he might be able to get some response from one of his female family members, might be able to speak on it and say, okay, well, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you raise your daughter. There's just a lot of things that a man would be uncomfortable talking with his daughter about, certain things. And it's a lot of things that women just can't lead and, you know, try to, you know, you can create your son and give your son a female's interpretation of what you think a man should be, but that's just a female's interpretation of what you think a man should be. So I mean, you know, hey, we got to do better as far as our communication between each other to be able to let's start building the black family back up, and giving each other a chance, and stop. You know, we can't be cutting and running and abandoning each other, and pointing the finger at each other like, you to blame, I'm to blame, you're to blame. What we got to have some solutions here, and the solution that I can come up with is we got to communicate better and try to stick together, and you know, build that black family back up. So let's do that. But respond, comment, like, dislike, subscribe to my page, and do, you know, ring that bell on. If you see that little bell on there, ring that bell, and once you do that, you'll get anytime anytime I put a new story up, you'll automatically be directed to that new story. So let's get it together, people, and
KP.
we need some peace. We need some love. We need some communication. Let's get it together, folks. If you can't get nothing else,
KP in the news.
peace.